Follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Mitch Moss along with Pauly Howard, live downtown Las Vegas. Circa Resort Casino is the spot. Big show coming up over the next 3 hours, including Matt Vasgersian recapping the weekend in Major League Baseball in 30 minutes. Tony Rizzo, ESPN Cleveland. A lot going on in that city in 90 minutes. And later on, Chad Andrus from 104.3 The Fan in Denver. So much going on with the playoffs and also the NFL draft in that city as well. We'll get to the NFL draft itself coming up in about 15 minutes. But, Pauly, so many developments in the NBA and the NHL playoffs from yesterday alone, leading into like tonight's action, but also like later on this week. One of which now confirmed within about the last hour or so. Damian Lillard did, in fact, tear his Achilles. So, I mean, just forget about this year with the series. They're now down 3-1, and it's probably over with when they go play Indiana in Game 5 on the road. This now speaks to what the Bucks are possibly going to do moving forward. And that guy who runs the team at GM recently got extended. And I could argue that in any sport, nobody has screwed it up more than that dude in recent years. So they have no chance to be successful moving forward. They're probably going to have to trade Giannis.
I think you're right. Lillard, who's probably out all of next year, is 35 in July and is due $113 million in the next 2 years. Oh. They lose tomorrow. They're 8-point dogs. That would be one playoff series win since 2021. And they are really up against it here, and they're in Suns territory. You know, a lot like Memphis, too, who's not even close and got blown out and swept and said some asinine things after they lost. So I'm with Barkley. I feel bad for the guy. With the blood clot, he comes back. And it turned out to be a disaster in terms of the trade. Now, there was no way of them knowing that you were going to make that trade, and then Portland was going to trade Holiday to the Celtics, right? And how it was going to happen there. But between the moves, the stuff hasn't worked out, and Middleton was cooked, and Kuzma's been a disaster, and Doc Rivers with some of his adjustments or lack thereof, although it worked out in Game 3 with Trent. I don't think you're right. They don't have a choice, and they're going to have to move the guy. And I want to see if he asks out, too, and makes it easier, because they're going nowhere fast. The fact that, number one, he's hurt. Number two, he's probably out. Your second best player is probably out for a year now.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, again, after a championship run by this team and the Nuggets, still alive, tied 2-2, but how those organizations, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse here, but how they have crippled themselves by the lack of roster construction and what they've done post-championship runs to help them maybe advance to another one and maybe even hoist another trophy. Disastrous in Denver and also Milwaukee. So now, do they have any fight within themselves to pick it up and cover an 8-point spread in Indiana when they play tomorrow night?
Well, Doc said they were deflated after the injury, so I don't see why they would respond. Indiana's much better.
Oh, yeah,
it's not
no
close.
doubt, no doubt.
They have depth, and they don't like each other, and the fact that Milwaukee only has a couple guys that can score. So they also have no chance defensively. Indiana can get what they want every single time down the floor, and you see that. And Turner's a good player, and Siakam's underrated, and they have no answer for him. And other than Joker, whose prop is 33.5 now, his point prop, there's just, other than the miracle game from Trent and an unbelievable performance from Porter, who should have been playing more, there's nothing they can do. And Indiana's probably named their score tomorrow.
Why is it that Milwaukee, this is before the Damian Lillard injury yesterday, why is it that they were falling behind so quickly every single game?
Yeah, that's alarming.
Does it speak to how they're just not that good? The paces are so much better. And does Doc Rivers, is he capable of making any adjustments whatsoever or maybe tinkering with the lineups? Now he has to because his hand has been forced because of the injury here to Lillard. But total disaster. And they have that guy as the head coach to boot. Mm-hmm. He just could not have gone any worse.
Yeah.
Yep. By the way, your biggest problem yesterday with the injury was what?
18 minutes to get an update. 18 minutes. Why do we have sideline reporters? What's going on? Great job by the doctors on X to get it right away, too. Grant Hill, that's not an ankle injury. What are you looking at? It's non-contact.
I think I saw on X within 3 to 5 minutes, multiple doctors. Now, this is much easier to do when you're not there and you're trying to diagnose from the video, but multiple doctors were in conversation saying it's going to be an Achilles tear.
Yep. Get in the locker room. Stop with the interviews at the end of the first quarter, which are meaningless, and you don't get anything other than cliches and coach speak. And I don't want to hear about the physicality and the rivalry. Go in there. He's the second best player on the team. Find out exactly what it is. I don't have to. Chris Haynes, who has it right immediately, that's an Achilles.
Right. I want nothing to do with the Bucks plus the 8 points.
Right.
They could wave the white flag in the third quarter when they're down by 20. Who knows?
Right.
Do you want anything to do with the Lakers laying 5.5 in their next game against the T-Wolves?
Yes. I think they can come out and respond. The tough thing with the Lakers now is the lack of depth and now the schedule. If they're going to try to do the impossible here and come back down 3-1, they're going to have to go Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. And then they're the Lakers, so they'll be playing Friday night and Sunday afternoon again, likely. So that
sounds like fun.
So that's right. So you just had this and you treated it like a Game 7 and you didn't go to the bench, which was odd because you were coming off the Friday night game again, and Luka had what a time to get food poisoning. Oh my God. So he's throwing up all day Saturday, and he decided I'm going to ride these guys into the ground, and they blow the 10-point lead in the fourth quarter in the series. 105-69 Minnesota. Unbelievable.
Well, so this is how bad it was with the depth for the Lakers last night. J.J. Redick's last lineup change came with 3:12 left in the second quarter. LeBron played the last 37 minutes and 46 seconds of the game, while Luka played the final 33 minutes and 49 seconds. Great tweet there from Alan Horton, who does Wolves Radio. That's all you need to know about the lack of depth that they have.
Well, they also, they're up 10. That's the time where you can sit guys, but he doesn't trust these others and the role players. But there's just so many things you could point to and what happened. And get a stop here. The tough call goes against them with the sky cam, what happened. But you can't blow a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter to tie the series up at 2.
Now, LeBron made some incredible defensive plays late in that game. However, the final minute, I thought he had like 3 gaffes, including what was the shot when you're up 113 to 111 with just under a minute to play from, 28 feet out. That was so unnecessary to take that shot.
Well, you have to give the other team credit sometimes. Number one, this is not a typical first-round matchup. The West is loaded. Denver, L.A., Minnesota, these aren't first-round matchups. These are good teams. And Ant had 43. McDaniels has been great. Naz Reid was awesome. It's just you get all those performances from Luka, Hachimura, LeBron, and Reeves not bad, and you still lose the game. It's just Minnesota's good too. And when Ant goes for 43 and McDaniels and Reed are hitting threes and knocking down shots, Randall's been great too.
Yeah, been really good.
It's just the thing that comes back, the game one, the no-show for game one is looming large now.
Yeah. That's
the thing that got him too. Not ready for the physicality and getting run out in game one.
Well,
so it's not over. I think they'll win Wednesday, but then they're not going to Minnesota with the short turnaround on a Friday night and winning.
Seems unlikely. That the game one, just I don't know what that was. Nobody does blowout, and then tied into Luka getting the food poisoning before game 3. What on earth is that? So now this is what happened at the end of the game, obviously. Great tweet from Rob Perez and what had to go again. They got completely screwed, the Lakers did.
Absolutely.
So they called the timeout because they thought it was their ball and they wanted to advance it to half court. The refs informed the television audience that the Wolves issued their challenge within 30 seconds of the TO. So now it was under review. The challenge was won by Minnesota. Overturned from the out of bounds on Ant to a shooting foul on LeBron. So Ant shoots the free throws, extends the lead to 3. Lakers don't get the timeout back.
That's right.
How dumb is that?
This was put in place because of the Western Conference Finals last year when it happened with Dallas and Minnesota.
Yeah.
How odd is that? So, and then you can't turn the ball over there at half court again. Whether it was Luka not coming to the ball or a lazy pass from LeBron, you also can't turn it over prior to this situation. But that is just, you're right. We're going to get the ball, but if they don't call a timeout, they can win the game.
Yes,
they call
can.
a timeout, and Reeves got a great look, though, too. But then again, what are they going to have in overtime? If he makes that shot, it goes to overtime. They have nothing in the tank.
So on the same day, right, and back-to-back games, this is a problem for the NBA, in my opinion. They break out the Hawkeye technology, and everybody's blown away like, wait a second here. You can actually use this to, go and check a play under review and then make your decision from there. Where has this been the whole time? Nobody even knew, like people who are in NBA media were like, I had no idea they could go to the Hawkeye replay system.
Yeah.
So you had that to determine what that thing completely flipped the end of that game, as we just told you about. And yet in the early game of the day, clearly everybody watching knew that Josh Hart fouled Tim Hardaway Jr. on the 3-point attempt. Pistons at home down by 1. Nope, they call nothing. That's the ball game. Knicks celebrate. And then moments later, the referees on the court, right after the game, admitted, yeah, you know what, we got that one wrong. How can you have that in a 3-hour window take place in your league?
Yep.
The Pistons got absolutely hit upside the head with a shovel yesterday, completely screwed.
We're going to go at it, though. I'm glad they didn't call it. I'm glad it was a no call. If you're going to let stuff go the entire game, and then you're going to call it there to decide it, was it a foul? Yes. But also Hardaway's jumping into him.
That's fine.
And people were infuriated for years with the Harden Trey Young business.
No, I understand that part. But how do you have the referee come back a couple minutes after the game and say, yeah, we botched it?
Yeah, that's where the report throws everyone under the bus with the mistakes, too. You've seen it all playoffs long. How many successful challenges do we have? It's like, what are these guys looking at, right? It's like the Atkinson thing. That's obvious. It's right there. Why do I have to use a stupid challenge? How about Bickerstaff using a challenge 5 minutes into the game on an innocuous play? But what are you doing? That's another thing, too. Yeah. But you
got to be careful with those.
Yeah.
Have to be.
I know. Oh, they were mad. And it's a completely different series, too.
Of course, they could have swept the Knicks.
Yeah.
Instead, they're down 3-1.
All good points. I will counter and say don't blow an 11-point lead in the fourth quarter, though. That's the other thing. I know, tough look for the league.
Get the calls right. Horrible look for the league.
Yeah, you're right. But they blew the lead. Fantastic day of action, though. It was a great weekend, other than the Heat debacle. NBA playoffs are here. So is the VSiN Killer Sports NBA Playoff Challenge. 15 sharp minds from the world of VSiN and Killer Sports go head-to-head. 38 picks each from the start of the playoffs all the way to the finals. That's a total of 570 picks, all available to VSiN Pro subscribers. They're locked in an hour before the first game each day. Full VSiN Pro access through August 1st. Just $59, VSiN.com/subscribe.
Up next, NFL draft recap, rookie numbers. We have very creative Travis Hunter props. We'll go over some landing spots we really like and rookie of the year numbers that look attractive here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Tell you what, Pauly, tip of the cap to some of these sports books. They wasted absolutely zero time to post numbers for rookie of the year, offensively, defensively, and some season-long props. Like, this is after night one, and then after, obviously, day two, and then everything's up by Saturday afternoon, pretty much, after everybody had their landing spot, right? I'll give you an example. At FanDuel, and they put this up on Travis Hunter immediately, but they have, will he win either the offensive or defensive rookie of the year at plus 320? That's something that almost every book should put up.
Mm-hmm.
They also have...
And the both.
And they have that. It's 50 to 1.
That's good. Yep.
Will he win both?
Mm-hmm.
Also, we have like a bunch of props on who's going to be like starting these, maybe some offshore stuff, but who's going to get the week one starting gig, or how many starts will quarterbacks such as Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, or Jackson Dart even make during their rookie season?
Tony Rizzo coming up later in the show, ESPN Cleveland. It's an island of misfit toys. That is some quarterback room. It's unbelievable, that quarterback room. And then it's the owner obviously making the pick because he saw the look on the faces of the Cleveland staff.
I can't wait to ask him that. It has to be, right?
That's absolutely the owner's pick. The owner got involved. Look at the look on their face.
Yeah.
It's like their dog died. It's ridiculous. Over under 2.5 starts? No. Now, I was watching VSiN over the weekend, and Tim Murray had a guest on who says Pickett's not making the team. You can rule Pickett out, but ride with Flacco, the run they had a couple years, proven veteran, and then Gabriel, Sanders. Then it becomes a mess to me because Watson's not playing. But this is an all-time quarterback room.
You're absolutely right. DK has that up, by the way. The week one starter or the quarterback to take the first snap for the Browns in week one. Pickett's the short shot, plus 120.
No. Well, that guy's in Cleveland. He says Pickett will be lucky to make the team. We'll ask Rizzo coming up. I can't believe Sanders is minus $2 to have a start. I didn't think he'd go drafted. And to go to the Browns was 30 to 1. So now it gets into what do the fans say? Does the team struggle? Is he even the backup at that point? Does he beat out Gabriel? I don't know. Well, it's a wild story because the sports books, the fans, and the media all had it wrong. The NFL people said, not that good. I don't want the baggage. I don't want the Sanders family or whatever comes along with it. And then we'll get into some horror stories that we heard. And then you see the slippage.
So Flacco's 3 to 1. That's the first number that I looked at on who's going to get the week one start for that team, right?
I would say it's Flacco.
Okay. Also, the team took Gabriel, and that was a team decision, not an owner decision, 2 rounds faster. then Shedeur Sanders off the board.
Well, how about Chuck going that? That's in 26 years. You said it Friday. Then it's really bonkos if this guy, 26 years old, who had a horrible combine, got to get the dog in there. That was great with the celebration.
Yeah.
But that's for him to go that high is lunacy.
It also tells me that the Browns team, though, they really like Gabriel to take him that high. So he could challenge a plus 650. But again, if it was the owner who came in and said, guys, come on, enough's enough. We're taking Shedeur Sanders 2 rounds after they took Dylan Gabriel. Does he force their hand and say this guy's starting week 1? Could it get that nuts in Cleveland? I will not rule anything out with this organization.
I'm with you. You can't. It's a factory of sadness, and it's nuts what happened. The guy once listened to a homeless guy and goes, okay, Manziel's the pick.
That's right.
So anything's possible with the Brownies.
So where was the media member that was completely piped in anywhere saying that this kid has, before the draft now, before Thursday night, where was the one media member who said, guys, I got to tell you, this is absolute nonsense. He's not going top 10. He's not going first round. And there's a good chance he's not going to go until Saturday. That's my intel. That's what I'm getting. Teams do not want anything to do with this kid. Where was that person?
Absolutely.
That person's not alive? Doesn't exist?
No, that person does exist. And if he didn't retire, he would have it today. And that's Peter King. Peter King retired, but I always look forward to Monday Morning Quarterback. He would have had the laundry list and the rundown of all the reasons why these teams passed on him and the horror stories. Like Rick Neuheisel said, that during one meeting, Sanders took a FaceTime call. And it's a job interview.
Yes, it is.
And he took a FaceTime call while it was going on.
He stayed on it.
Right.
And the horror stories just kept coming out over the weekend.
And I was told also he called the Giants. So all this stuff is believable now, where he's supposed to go top 10, top 5, and then the guy was lucky to get drafted.
Yeah. Other than that, I think they had a pretty good in terms of skilled position players. They get Junkins and Sampson at running back. Now, they're not going to rule out bringing Nick Chubb back and playing him, I guess, a little bit from a report that I was reading earlier today. And this was a big price. FanDuel had this. Which player would get drafted first? Travion Henderson, who went off as the odds-on favorite to go 33rd overall on Friday night. Or Junkins. I think Henderson was minus 4,000.
How about that?
In that neighborhood, just to go ahead of him.
Yeah.
But I also think that the one guy I wanted to look at for Rookie of the Year, now this was pending, right, with the landing spot, was the guy they took at tight end, Fannin, the kid who set all those records last year at Bowling Green, who's awesome.
Some people gave him an A-plus draft.
He's 150 to 1, by the way. But I don't know who, I mean, there could be a rotating door. Quarterback, and tight end has never won the Offensive Rookie of the Year, so that's another thing to look at. How about the Bears loading up for Caleb Williams now? To get Burden and Loveland, and they also added Monagai, the Rutgers running back, who was really, really good in college.
Yep. No excuses now.
0.
He's got Johnson. He has all these weapons. Has to look the part. Has to be in the playoff mix.
How good? So as good as that division was last year, if J.J. McCarthy is healthy for the Vikings this year,
yes,
is this division going to be even better or more competitive?
Yeah.
I think there's a path where it could be.
That's right. I had it too. Right church, wrong pew. Miami went quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Took yours.
Yeah.
Said at that, I think it was 7th round, whatever
it was. It was really late.
That was a big ticket too, that cashed. How about Dart? Over under 1.5 starts. Well, you figure they're going to have a bad year, but that's kind of interesting where the coach and the GM are on the hot seat, but they can prove that we're going to have this organization in the right direction because we were high on this guy and we're going to develop him. But then when does he get in? Does Russ struggle? I mean, that's...
yes, he will.
Okay, so when do you go to him? I would take the over 1.5.
I wanted it to be over a half a game, and I'd lay juice because there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to start at least one game this year. At least one. I don't know about multiple. Jackson Dart at some point, barring injury, will start one game for sure in my mind for the Giants. And that would be, I'd lay $2 on that for him to start at least one game. Because Winston is like a $5 dog to be the week 1 starter. Wilson's like minus $12 to get that start. Well, inevitably, like that's not going to go well for Russell Wilson at quarterback sometime during this season. And then they'll go to Winston, and that'll look good for about 3 quarters. And then he'll have 5 INTs in the next 2.5 quarters after that. And they're going to have to say, yeah, we're 2-9. We drafted a rookie and traded up for him in the first round. We got to go to Jackson Dart to see what he has. I love that path. But does he get more than 1? I don't know about that. Maybe he does. Maybe he starts the last month of the season. But overall, I got to tell you, I think the Giants had a pretty damn good draft. And I mean, Scatterboo is 75 to 1 to win Rookie of the Year. I don't hate that.
I don't either.
He's actually 100 to 1 if you shop around.
Okay.
Looking at my notes here. Other numbers here.
How about Will Howard going to the Steelers and Milroe to Seattle?
They will have a package for Milroe in Seattle.
I think you're right. I think the same thing.
And what happens if Aaron Rodgers says, you know what, guys, I changed my mind yet again. I'm not going to come and play for Pittsburgh.
Well, that's again why Pittsburgh. It's like every mock had him going 21 with Sanders going to Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh just time and time again just said, no, we're not taking him.
And let me see here. The Steelers situation, week 1 starter, Will Howard's 8-1. If Rodgers doesn't sign there, he can absolutely beat out Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, that's not bad.
But you need two things to happen there, right?
And who knows with him trying to handicap him. I wouldn't be surprised now at this point if it doesn't work out and he retires.
Yeah. I'll give you some other landing spots that I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Trey Harris, wide receiver to the Chargers. I think that is a great landing spot for him. He's 100-1 at FanDuel to win Rookie of the Year. Everybody's betting R.J. Harvey, who was drafted by the Broncos at running back. He was 50-1. He's now the highest I could find is 35-1 on him. And Caleb Johnson, people are in love with that pick for Pittsburgh, the running back. And I think that he can be a bell cow there immediately. He's 30-1. He's going to be very popular, like in dynasty drafts. And
good points at the start of the segment. Where are these NFL people? Where are these sharp minds? What happened? What's the analogy? What's the comparison here?
There isn't one.
No, I don't think there is either.
No.
The guy was minus $2 in December to be the number 1 overall pick. He was lucky to get drafted. What happened? Where are the stories other than the Neuheisel thing? This is nuts. How about not that long ago, Colin Cowherd? The Steelers should give up T.J. Watt, Pickens, and 2 number 1s for him.
Oh, there's no way that was said.
Oh, yeah, he did. There's footage of it.
You got to be kidding me.
There's video. Oh, yeah. That's where we were at. That's where we were at with the hype with this guy. And then he was lucky to get drafted. It's incredible.
If the owner doesn't come in, maybe he doesn't get drafted.
I don't have a comparison either. It's crazy. So you would think Sean Payton did come out and say people are making a mistake and he's going to prove it to you, but whatever.
Yeah.
Go all in at Circa. The ultimate getaway package, just $400, a 2-night stay at Circa, $100 dining credit, $100 beverage credit, and your very own daybed at Stadium Swim where the party never stops. $400 limited time between May 26th and September 4th. Lock it in now. Take advantage. Your all-in summer package. CircleLasVegas.com.
The great Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network up next. I want to get into some of these teams that are leading their divisions as we approach May. Which ones? Some surprises, right? Which ones do you think Matt will be buying? I'll ask him next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Touch on baseball here, recapping another weekend that was as the great Matt Vasgersian, longtime friend of the show, joins the program now, and he is on the Progressive Guest Line. Matt, good afternoon. Thanks for the time as always. How are you?
Hi, guys. Good. Limited schedule today, but no less interesting than if everybody was playing. There's some fun stuff tonight.
Okay, so we'll get into that coming up in a second. You were calling the Angels-Twins series over the weekend. I liked the Twins a lot on Friday night. It was a terrible schedule spot for the Angels. The players were chirping about it for like 2 days going into it. I don't blame them. I did not know it was going to go that poorly, though, over the weekend. What are we talking about now with how bad this team might be?
Well, I mean, the strikeout thing has to get fixed. And defensively, they're not perfect because they're playing a lot of people in new spots. But when you strike out 26 times over 2 games, as they did Saturday and Sunday, it's more than just, somebody learning how to play center field. And the Twins can pitch a little bit, and Joe Ryan's good. Joe Ryan has killed them for years now. But, there are some things that need to change. I was really surprised that they lost on Saturday the way they did. They just haven't hit. And I thought Yusei Kikuchi was all set up to beat them because the Twins are terrible against left-handed pitching. And it, goes to show you can do your handicap. You can think you know what's going on. You can be on it. And then something weird happens, like the 3 automatic ball calls that Kikuchi was levied with for not engaging the hitter on Saturday, and he couldn't finish 3 innings. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Explain that. Dive into that a little bit more for the audience here who missed it, because that to me sounds like one of the most random sense of nonsense that you're ever going to get, like in a baseball game.
Yeah, it was random. So technically, the hitter is supposed to engage, or the pitcher is supposed to engage the hitter by being with recognition that he's ready and that the hitter's ready by looking in to the catcher, right? You're supposed to engage with your eyes, the catcher, umpire, hitter arrangement at home plate. So in other words, you can't be looking at your shoes and then all of a sudden go into your windup and your delivery and throw a pitch because no one's ready for you. 3 times in 2 innings, Kikuchi was called for not visually engaging with the battery. And one of them came in a full count situation that led directly to a run. Now, there were other things that went wrong. He started the game by giving up 4 straight singles, so he wasn't sharp that day. But when you're not sharp and then you've got a rookie umpire behind the plate who's going deep into the obscurities of the rule book, you got no chance.
Yeah.
It's like the deck is stacked against you.
I can't believe that. That's insanity. Well, at least it's not the Colorado Rockies, right? I mean, how bad is this club? And they're on pace to win 26 games and are off to a worse start than the White Sox last year.
Yeah, and they're also on a pace to reset the new futility record for strikeouts by a lineup, which is held by, again, the Twins, the 23 Twins. Remember the Bomba Squad? They had the Bomba Squad, then they had the Punch-Out Brigade. That record's only a year plus old, but the Rockies are on pace to break that by almost 100 strikeouts. It's really sad. Yeah, and you know what? I love Buddy Black. He's a terrific baseball guy. It's a talent issue. They spent a ton of money on an outfielder / first baseman who isn't going to play, and he's got a degenerative back problem now. Talking about Chris Bryant, and there are all kinds of problems. They can't pitch. It's sad. I mean, some of those scores coming out of there are really, it's hard to watch. Absolutely. You don't want to watch anybody get their brains beat in like that.
When Freeland and Marquez start, they're a combined 0-9. That's just 2 guys right there. And the Braves, all their issues on the road are $1.75 tonight. What do you make of the Dodgers series now? Huge favorites tonight with May. 13 different pitchers have been hurt for the Dodgers, and it's Cabrera for the Marlins. And the last time he faced LA was the Ohtani 6-for-6 game.
Yeah, 6 for 6 with 10 RBIs. How we doing?
Yeah, I forgot about that. 3 home runs, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a big part of the narrative there today. And you could play your Ohtani over 1.5 total bases at -110 if you're so inclined. I don't hate that. But the guy that I'm watching in that series is Andy Pages. I mean, what he did over the weekend against the Pirates, including Skeens. He had 2 doubles against Skeens on Friday, 3 for 3 Friday, 3 for 4 Saturday, 4 for 5 with a homer yesterday, including a homer against a right-handed pitcher. Last year, he had terrible splits. He was terrible against right-handed pitching. And by the second half of the season, they just weren't playing him against righties. He didn't play against righties at all in the postseason. This year, he's turning into kind of a matchup-proof guy. So he's got a total base prop today of 0.5. It's wow. Juicy at -140. But, Cabrera's we're not talking about Corbin Burns here. And he started out the season on the IL. I don't think he's even stretched out yet because he's only thrown 14 innings in 3 starts. So I love Pages tonight if I'm going to circle a guy in that Dodger game.
Any thoughts on May and how he's been so far?
Yeah, he's been interesting. He had kind of a clunker last time around against a Cubs lineup that is just red hot right now. He's had 2 home starts, and he struck out 6 against Atlanta, 7 against Colorado. And the Colorado stuff throw it out because they're just such a punch and miss team. And Atlanta was not playing well at the time he faced him last. So I think May's strikeout prop is 4.5. I think that's pretty reasonable given it's the Marlins. You'd have to lay a really big number if you like the Dodgers to win on the money line. Maybe the way to do it is just to play May strikeout prop, Pages over 0.5 total base.
Okay, very good. I love the creativity here. It's Follow the Money on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Our guest, Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network. What are your thoughts and observations on the A's 28 games into the season? They're exactly at 500, 14-14 overall. 3 games under 500 at home in Sacramento, 3 games over 500 on the road, and they're playing on the road against the Rangers.
Yeah, I think big picture, I don't see a reason why the A's couldn't be considered one of the teams that could be playoff viable in a really weakened American League this year. More interesting than this series, they got 4 at the Rangers, as you said, is what's happening in that new ballpark. We're all kind of trying to figure out what this place is. And as a AAA park, and I think we talked about this on Follow the Money not too long ago, the fact that at AAA it played as a fair, if not pitcher-skewed facility. But I went through the lines and the boxes because I thought I sensed a trend, and I don't know, maybe I'm onto something, maybe I'm not. There have been 9 night games at that ballpark. Almost 70% of the runs in the night games have been scored in innings 1 through 5. And the number would be even higher if you remove this one clunky game where the lousy White Sox bullpen, threw a gas can onto itself and imploded. Without that, it'd be closer to 80%. So I don't know if it's a weather pattern thing. I don't know if it's the way the sun sets, the hitter-friendlier conditions, but most of the scoreboard activity seems to be innings 1 through 5. I mean, they're averaging 9+ runs a game there total, almost 10 runs a game total. And again, so much of the damage has come early. That's kind of a rub to look for when you're playing, totals in that series.
Excellent.
In those series.
Excellent. Panic time. The Baltimore Orioles have the 3rd worst record in baseball.
Yes, it is, because you can't possibly win by expecting your lineup to score 7 to 8 runs a night. And that's what's happening there. They are pitching thin. And I think they're going to be challenged this week and tonight in particular against the Yankees. There are a couple things there that are interesting tonight too, because Ben Rice has been a completely different guy. And not to get too far off your topic, Pauly, but when you look at, smaller, total base numbers. Like when you play a guy over 1.5, you might think that's an easy thing. You're looking for a double. You're looking for 2 base hits. It's not so hard to come by, or not so easy to come by. But if Ben Rice at 0.5, at a half a total base, has a kind of a juicy matchup, which he does tonight, and I'll tell you why I like it too, because his numbers this year against right-handed four-seamers are unbelievable. He's a completely different hitter. So for a guy like that, I think a lot of the lines and props are being written based on his last year's body of work. By the end of the season, you're not going to get him at a half on a total base prop. His expected slugging against right-handed fastballs this year is over 800. He's got an OPS over 1,000 against right-handers in general. He's interesting to me tonight, and I think back to your original question, I'd be really worried if I was the Orioles.
Oh, that is phenomenal stuff right there. I'm shopping for Ben Rice stuff as we speak. That's the great Matt Vasgersian, MLB Network. Could talk to you for 2 hours every time that you come on, man. Thank you so much for the time. That was great as always.
Good talking to you guys.
Thanks, Matt.
Be good. There you go. Matt Vasgersian called games for the Angels this weekend, and also MLB Network on top of it as well. So did not get to the which team is he buying right now leading their divisions. I wanted to throw the Tigers, the Giants, and the Mets at him. I think the easy team to buy would be the Mets, obviously. They're leading right now the Nationals 2-0 as they play in the bottom of the second. You buying the Tigers and or the Giants?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the race for most wins in April is awesome. How good this is.
I think the Tigers are going to find themselves in the American League Championship Series this year.
Could be.
Skubal is he's good enough to, my God.
I think
he was untouchable again.
Best home start since the 84 team, I think.
Win, lose next. A 75 to 1 shot that cashed, and another one was a bad beat. Pauly, details next.
Night? Wow, winning. Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Incredible weekend with the playoffs and also what happened in another world of sports. Friday, home teams, 6-0 in the playoffs. NBA and NHL. Bucks, Pacers. You've got to look at these daily leaders every single day. The stuff that's cashing is nuts. Gary Trent, most threes, 7-1. Most points, 75 to 1. It's a dead heat with Giannis, though, so it gets knocked down. But he had his all-time performance, what he did in Game 3. LeBron, most threes Friday, 20 to 1. Most points, 5 to 1. You get those 2 games from LeBron, you get what Hachimura did in Game 4, and you still go 0-2.
Well, because they have there's nobody past like their 5th best player.
That's tough. And then no size as well. I don't even know why does Jackson Hayes even start? I mean, what's the point?
What he played? 4 minutes?
Yeah, that's all he played. Magic money line Friday 2-1. Saturday, here we go. Daily leaders again. It was a blowout, and I had several, because a lot of people, all of us were on the over. Several people reached out and said, this is ridiculous. The Heat quit in the second quarter. Oh, they did. Most points, Allen, 55-1, and Bam, 7-1, dead Heat. Most threes, Bam, 70-1, Strus plus 650. Most assists, Ty Jerome, 50-1. This is the same game. This kind of stuff can happen when you get a blowout and backups are in and the starters are just going through the motions.
See, I like looking at long shots in these markets. Bam at 70.
He took 7 threes.
I don't think I would have considered that.
Yeah.
Bam at like 100 or more. I'm like, okay, maybe, but 7. Yeah. Oh, my Lord.
It's like 40 tonight. Yeah. And then Hero wasn't taking any. I don't know what that was. The under 215 down to 211.5.
I don't know how you handicapped that game tonight. I'm lost for that game.
You're right. Nuggets Clippers. Porter, most threes, 17-1. Powell, 4. Dead Heat. Nuggets plus 220. A buzzer beater at DraftKings was 30-1. It was the first game-winning buzzer-beating dunk in playoff history. What are the odds Joker shoots the air ball? Warriors Rockets, most threes, Buddy Hield, 75-1.
Oh, come on.
Dead Heat with Curry. Hasn't been playing, yeah. Knicks Pistons, most threes, Cat, 14-1. Bucks Pacers, Porter, 22-1. Avalanche to win by shot.
Hold on, one thing. How does Doc Rivers watch the games?
Yeah, why wasn't Porter playing?
How has he not played more this year?
I know. Goes back to when you had him on a prop and he sat most of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's right.
He's in love with the Prince and playing these other guys. I know. Avalanche to win by a shutout, 7-1. First goal, Vegas, Theodore, 30-1. Kachuk, 12-1. 11 of the last 13 playoff games have gone over in the NHL. And the Blues have won 14 in a row at home.
Well, how they got there yesterday, I'm sure you have more on that coming up. That was insane.
It's an all-time series with Edmonton and LA, too. Wrexham. What a life for Ryan Reynolds. Although Blake Lively appears to be, he has his hands full in any event. Movie star buys Wrexham for $2 million. First team in English football history, which goes back to 1888, to achieve 3 consecutive promotions, top 5 divisions. Back-to-back-to-back promotions. They are now in the championship, one level under the Premier League, and that's their goal. And I would say anything's possible with Wrexham and what they've done. Championship Norwich draw plus 360 against Middlesbrough. Plymouth plus 350. Oxford United plus 250. Accrington plus 550. Shrewsbury Town plus 450. FA Cup, Crystal Palace plus 230. They beat Aston Villa. Well, someone hit 4 home runs in a game. 8-1 cash. Already happened.
How about, will someone hit 4 home runs in a game and his team will lose?
How about that's another one? How do you lose that game? Come on. What Suarez did. Incredible. Sanders to the Browns, 30-1 at DraftKings. UFC. Edwards knockout in the win in round 1, 11-1. Wellmaker round 1, 6-1. Guambaya knockout 7-1. Round 2, 11-1. Schnell by decision 8-1. Brown in round 2, 10-1. Subscribe, be part of the team. vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos at Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send it in, we'll put you on. Vegas Matt. He gets a ton of views on Instagram and TikTok. He's playing Ultimate X $10 play. He's dealt 4 to the Royal with all the multipliers. He gets, here we go, we're going to go fast.
Oh, no.
What do you, can you see it? Several 12s. Bam, 1 for 4 times. There's the 12 right there. Mitch, that's 60 grand. He got 2 of them. 4 to the Royal dealt, $, Ultimate X10 play. 4 times and 12
Fully
times.
loaded with multipliers.
He's got a 4 and he's got a 12. The 12's 48,000. The 4 times is 12 grand. He won over 60,000.
Oh.
You can follow him. I wouldn't mind tucking him, getting him in studio. I can't believe how many views the guy gets.
Oh, I can.
Some of the videos, though, are just, I'm going to play a hand of Baccarat or
sure.
Blackjack, whatever.
But he'll like fire on the slot machine for $1,000 a pull.
Yes.
Let's see where this takes us.
That's true. Yep. 60,000.
Oh, he got 2 of them.
Well, he was dealt the Royal on 10 play about a month ago. I don't know how, God knows what that paid. Lose some. Rockets Warriors over. 202.5 to 205.5. Houston cannot score. Thunder 12.5 up to 15.5. Lucky to win the game. The Pistons have lost 9 in a row at home in the playoffs. Ties a record. And the LA Kings, after being 41-2 when they score 3+ goals, lost back-to-back games, scoring 3+ goals.
How'd they not win the game yesterday?
Hiller was a big reason why, too. Horrible coaching. Always keep your head on a swivel, right? Couple lose some videos. Don't leave that steak up there or food on the counter with the dog. You're pointing, hey, I had the steak up here. Where did it go? What happened? I was preparing my meal. Oh, there he is. He's hiding. He's hiding with the steak in his mouth under the table. He's got the package, but he's not going to find him.
Just eat it, buddy.
At least he didn't eat it and go through it.
No, at this point, just eat it.
I
Go
can't
ahead.
believe it. He knew he did something wrong. He grabbed the whole package of the steak, and he got caught red-handed. This is like this one. The owner pretends to fall asleep with a sandwich in his hand on the chair. And the dog is like, is he out? Oh, look at that. He's got the sandwich, and he's holding it. Now he plays dumb, being coy, right? Okay, I'm just going to go for a walk. I know I got a gift here. It's a miracle. So I don't want to make any sudden movements, and he comes over. Let me take a little nibble. Coming in, a little bite. Takes a little piece. Why didn't you just grab the whole thing, right?
I think he's trying to, but the owner's still tugging at it a little bit.
Then he comes in here again, trying to get some. Then the owner wakes up and stares at him. But what's wrong with you? Come on. Pretends to fall asleep with the sandwich in his hand. Oh, that's good. And just looking. The look on his face when he realizes it was a game and the owner caught him red-handed. Oh, that was good. Take the whole thing, though, buddy. Bad beats. Pippen. Most rebounds. 75-1. He fouled out early. He finished one short. Hartenstein got him 12-11. West Ham, Premier League, led in the 89th minute and lost. And the Kings and under. Up 3-1 in the third period. Up 3-2 with 28 seconds left. Edmonton ties it, and they win it in overtime on the power play.
Well, there's another horrific beat from yesterday, too. The Canadians and Capitals going over 6.5.
That's another one, I know.
Oh, mamma mia.
1-1, 3 minutes left, right? Or 2-1, 3 minutes left?
Capitals had one. They scored four goals, and a bunch of them came late in the third period.
Empty net. Yep. Whether you're placing your first bet or you're playing the ponies for years, the Kentucky Derby betting guide with VSiN has everything you need to get ahead on Derby Day. Breakdown on how to bet horse racing, great for beginners. Previews of both the Derby and Kentucky Oaks. Chris Massaro in studio Thursday. He's great on the Oaks and horse racing. Top racing experts chime in. It drops April 30th. It's worth it with the VSiN Pro subscription. $9.99 start today. Get your first 30 days with the Derby Guide. Every best bet, every host, every guest in the betting splits. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it now.
Ben Rice, unfortunately, not in the starting lineup tonight. Starting lineup for the Yankees. So I went to go get to see the best number and scratched. Not going to be in there. Great breakdown from Matt Vasgersian earlier. So this was, by the way, to go back to the Bucks trade for Damian Lillard.
Yeah. They
traded Dame in a 3-team deal that then sent Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, and this Tumani Kamara, plus a 2029 first-round Bucks pick and 2 Bucks pick swaps in 2028 and 2030 to Portland. That's the deal.
Yeah, it's like Phoenix. You have these bad contracts, so you got injuries, and you got no picks. It's Phoenix part 2. I don't know what I don't think of that pick till 2031. It's ridiculous.
Remember at the time I thought that trading Holiday and not Middleton, who was Middleton was a key cog in that team winning the championship. I understand that. He was unreliable because of the injuries.
Right.
And Holiday was
nothing left either.
Yeah, right. He was done. He was cooked. So they're going to bring what I think if they try to run it back with this same roster. But Brook Lopez is now like a favorite to go to the Lakers next year.
That's the other thing. Why? What if the Lakers didn't flunk the kid from Charlotte on a physical?
I know.
Remember they came out and said, I'm fine. What's wrong with you?
Right.
What if they had that kid? Williams. That would have made a difference.
Oh, here's another thing, too. People are pointing out, you know what? The Lakers with 8, forget the trade for a second here. Go back to what they were like.
Okay.
The Lakers would have matched up better with this T-Wolves team with Anthony Davis. But also, my retort to that would be, hold on a second here. Everybody was saying before the series that Luka was going to be a major problem for him.
That's true.
But
Luka had 38, whatever. Problem was,
I know.
What do you have? 2 assists and 1 rebound.
Yeah,
or whatever
but they have nobody down low to put up.
But you made the trade for the future, though, too. He's 25 years old. You're set up for the next 10 years.
All right, props in the NBA, NHL, and MLB. I'm going to have to pivot on who's going to grab the rebound tonight in the Rockets-Warriors game. I'll tell you why next here on VSiN.